I always thought my family was normal. Not perfect, but normal enough. We fought over silly things, celebrated birthdays with the same store-bought cake, and spent Sunday evenings watching whatever movie my dad picked. Nothing dramatic, nothing strange, nothing that ever made me suspect my entire life was built on a lie. But everything changed the night I found the letter. It was a cold Thursday evening, and I was cleaning out the hallway cabinet, one of those messy storage spaces where random papers, batteries, and old keys get tossed and forgotten. I only opened it because I needed tape. But instead, my eyes landed on a thick beige envelope at the very back, wedged behind a stack of expired insurance forms. My name was written on the front, my full name. In handwriting that wasn't my mother's or father's. My heart stopped for a second. At first, I laughed nervously, thinking maybe it was some forgotten birthday card from a distant aunt. But when I turned it over, the seal was still intact. Untouched for years. I should have waited. I should have asked my parents. But curiosity is dangerous. My fingers tore the seal open, and what I read next made my stomach twist so hard I thought I'd throw up. If you are reading this, it means your parents finally decided to tell you the truth they kept hidden for 30 years. You deserve to know who you really are. Who I really am. I felt dizzy. I read the sentence again, slower this time, making sure I hadn't misunderstood. The letter wasn't long, but every word felt like a blade slicing into the life I thought I knew. I am your biological mother. They promised they would tell you when you turned 18, but they never did. You were not abandoned, you were taken. Taken. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I could barely breathe. The letter continued, each line more terrifying than the last. If they refuse to explain, find me, the truth is not what they told you. I read it again and again until the words blurred from my tears. I sat on the floor, gripping the letter like it might disappear. I wasn't adopted. I wasn't abandoned. I was taken. What did that mean? Kidnapped, hidden, stolen? The walls started closing in. My childhood memories suddenly felt tainted, fake. I couldn't even tell if the family photos hanging in the hallway were lies too. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I needed answers. I stormed into the living room where my parents were watching TV like it was any normal night. My mom was knitting. My dad was half asleep on the couch. "Why?" I said, my voice shaking so badly I barely recognized it. "Is there a letter in the cabinet from someone claiming to be my biological mother?" My mom froze. Needles dropped. My dad's eyes snapped open like he'd been electrocuted. They looked terrified, genuinely terrified. "Where did you find it?" my mom whispered. "That's all you have to say," I shouted. "Are you kidding me? I want the truth." My dad stood slowly, his voice trembling. "You weren't supposed to find that yet." "Yet," I yelled. "I'm 30 years old. When was yet?" Mom started crying immediately. Dad looked like he aged 10 years in a single minute. My whole body was shaking, anger and fear mixing like poison in my blood. "Tell me the truth," I said, my voice breaking. "All of it." My parents exchanged a look, one so heavy, so scared, I knew instantly that the truth was worse than I imagined. My dad sat down, burying his face in his hands. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," he said quietly. "But yes, she is your biological mother." My stomach lurched. Mom wiped her tears. "We never planned to hide it forever. We just wanted to protect you." "Protect me from what?" I snapped. "From my real mother." Dad swallowed hard. "She's dangerous." The room went silent. Dangerous? What did that even mean? "What are you talking about?" I whispered. "What did she do?" Mom pulled in a shaky breath. "She tried to take you away from us once, when you were just a baby." I stared at them, completely speechless. My mind couldn't process anything anymore. Dad continued, his voice breaking. She wasn't stable. "She had issues. She made threats. We had to take you and leave. We did what we thought was best." I blinked over and over. My ears were ringing. "You took me," I said slowly. "You mean you kidnapped me?" My mother gasped. "No, don't say it like that. We saved you." But every word they said felt like a lie layered over another lie. "And why didn't you tell me all these years?" I demanded. "Why hide everything?" Dad looked at me with eyes full of guilt. "Because the truth could destroy everything." Too late, it already had. I backed away from them, feeling like I didn't recognize the people standing in front of me. My chest felt tight, like something inside me was shattering piece by piece. "Please," Mom sobbed. "Don't leave. We can explain everything if you just—" "No," I whispered. "I need time. I need space. I needed to breathe. I needed the truth. I needed to know who the woman was, the one who wrote me that letter." I grabbed my coat and stormed out the front door, ignoring my mom's cries behind me. As the cold air hit my face, one thought kept repeating in my mind. What if everything they told me was the real lie? And even scarier, what if that letter was only the beginning of something far darker? What would you do if you found a letter like this from your real mother? Tell me in the comments. The cold air outside hit me like a slap, but it helped. It grounded me just enough to keep from collapsing. My hands were still wrapped tightly around the letter, crumpled from how hard I'd been gripping it. The streetlights glowed above me, blurry through my tears. 30 years of believing one story, 30 years of trusting the people who raised me, and now I didn't know who I was anymore. I walked aimlessly for what felt like hours, replaying everything my parents said. She tried to take you. We saved you. She's dangerous. Words that sounded rehearsed, too polished, too convenient. I found myself sitting on a bench by the empty park near my house, my ears buzzing with questions. If my biological mother was dangerous, why write such a calm, desperate letter? Why hide it? Why was her handwriting shaking like she was afraid, not threatening? Nothing was making sense anymore. I pulled the letter out again, despite knowing it would hurt. My eyes landed on a single line I had skimmed earlier. Your parents won't tell you the truth because the truth could implicate them. Implicate. That word punched me straight in the chest. Why would she say that? My parents were strict sometimes, yes, controlling occasionally, but criminals, capable of stealing a child and lying for decades. I shook my head. I didn't want to believe it, but the seed of doubt was already planted. My phone buzzed, suddenly Mom calling. I stared at the screen until it stopped vibrating. Messages started pouring in. Mom, please come home. Mom, we'll talk. Dad, we love you. Don't do anything rash. Mom, you're scaring us. I locked the screen. Their desperation felt too late. I wasn't ready to go back. I needed clarity, answers, proof. None of which existed in that house right now. Instead, I typed something into my search bar, my biological mother's name. At first, nothing came up. Then a few articles, old ones, missing person notices, some legal documents that I couldn't access without paying. But one thing stood out, a forum post on a site that looked like it hadn't been updated since 2010. Searching for my child, please. If anyone has seen this girl, contact me. My chest tightened. The photo attached was grainy, but it was me, a baby version of me, wrapped in a blanket I vaguely recognized from older family photos, the same one my mom always said she knitted. My hands shook violently. I zoomed in. The woman holding me had the same eyes I saw in the mirror. This wasn't some unstable stranger. This looked like a grieving mother. My breath grew uneven. My parents never mentioned anything about police involvement, missing posters, or a legal fight. They just said she was unstable. But if she was unstable, why were there so many posts from her searching for me? Why were there no restraining orders? Why were there no articles about her trying to take me back? Everything was pointing in one direction. Something was off. Something was hidden. My phone buzzed again, this time from an unknown number. Unknown, I heard you found my letter. Please meet me. I can explain everything they never told you. My heart nearly dropped out of my chest. How did she know? I looked around instinctively, suddenly paranoid. Was she watching me? How did she even get my number? Before I could process anything, another message came. Unknown, I'm not here to hurt you. I just want you to know the truth before it's too late. My throat went dry. Before it's too late. What did that mean? I hesitated, then typed back with shaking fingers. Me, who are you? 3 dots appeared. Unknown, the woman who gave birth to you. Unknown, please let me talk to you just once. My pulse skyrocketed. This was insane, completely insane. I didn't know whether to block the number or scream. Another message, unknown, your parents aren't who they pretend to be. They lied to you. They lied to everyone. Unknown, meet me tomorrow at 3 p.m., the old Maplewood Library. I'll bring proof. Proof? My mind spun. If she had actual proof, if everything I thought I knew was a lie, if my parents had really taken me, I stood up abruptly, tucking the letter into my pocket. I couldn't sit here anymore. I needed clarity, and as terrifying as it was, the only person who could give it to me was the mysterious biological mother. But I still wasn't going to go alone blindly. I needed some sense of control, so I headed home. The moment I stepped inside, both my parents rushed forward. Mom grabbed my arm. Where were you? We were so worried. I pulled my arm away. We're not doing this right now. Dad stepped closer. We can explain everything, but you have to trust us. I laughed bitterly. Trust, really, because right now I don't even know if you are my parents. Mom burst into tears. Dad clenched his jaw. Who contacted you? Dad demanded suddenly. The sharpness in his voice froze me. What? I whispered. Dad's eyes flickered with something I couldn't read. Fear, anger, panic. Someone contacted you, he repeated. I can tell by your face. I took a step back. Why does it matter? It matters because she's dangerous, Dad snapped. Why? I shot back. Because she wants to tell me how I actually ended up with you. He slammed his fist on the table, making Mom jump. You don't understand the situation. Then make me understand, I yelled. Tell me the truth. Mom covered her face, sobbing. Dad's shoulders slumped. For a moment he looked defeated. Then he whispered something that sent chills crawling up my spine. Some truths are more dangerous than lies. The room fell silent. Dangerous for who? Them? Me? Her? Before I could ask anything else, Dad continued, voice trembling. Please don't meet her. My blood ran cold. How do you know she wants to meet me? I whispered. Dad froze. That was all the answer I needed. I stepped back toward the door. I'm going to bed. Don't follow me. I locked my door behind me, heart pounding. Even though the house was quiet now, there was no comfort left inside these walls. I couldn't sleep. Not after everything. Not after realizing my parents might be tracking my every move. At 3 p.m. tomorrow, I was going to meet the woman who claimed to be my real mother. And somehow, deep in my gut, I knew whatever she was going to tell me would destroy my life even more than tonight already had. Question mark, would you meet the woman after a message like that? Why or why not? I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw two different images, my mother sobbing on the couch and the grainy photo of the woman holding me as a baby. Two versions of my life, clashing in my mind like a storm I couldn't escape. By morning, my head felt like it had been split open by fear, confusion, and anger. At breakfast, the house was too quiet. My mom sat at the table with a cup of tea she wasn't drinking. My dad stood by the window, arms crossed, staring outside as if expecting someone to show up. The moment I appeared, my dad turned, his expression tense. We need to talk, he said quietly. No, I replied. We really don't. You don't understand. You've had 30 years to explain, I said sharply. And you didn't. Now let me handle this. My mom grabbed the edge of the table as if she were about to stand, but then stopped herself. Her voice trembled. Please don't go see her. I froze. I never told you I was meeting her. The color drained from her face. She looked at my dad, who immediately avoided eye contact. Something inside me cracked. How do you know? I whispered. Dad rubbed his forehead. Because that's what she does. She reaches out. She manipulates. She pretends she's harmless, but she's not. I crossed my arms. Then show me proof. Show me any evidence she's dangerous. Dad fell silent. Mom finally spoke, voice shaky. We can't show you anything, but we know. I stared at them in disbelief. That's not good enough anymore. Dad stepped toward me, lowering his voice. If you walk out that door today, you're choosing her over us. My throat tightened. He was trying to corner me emotionally, the same tactic he used when he wanted control. Suddenly, it made me wonder, how many times had I mistaken manipulation for love? I picked up my jacket. I'm choosing the truth, I said. My mom began sobbing uncontrollably. My dad cursed under his breath but didn't chase after me. The slam of the front door felt like a point of no return. The meeting I reached the Maplewood Library 10 minutes early. It was an old brick building, half abandoned, with ivy creeping up the walls. Hardly anyone came here anymore. The parking lot was empty except for a single silver car. I sat on a bench outside, clutching the letter in my pocket like a lifeline. My heart was pounding so loudly I could feel it in my fingertips. I was terrified. Terrified that she would be nothing like the person I imagined. Terrified that my parents were right. Terrified that they were wrong. At 3:01 p.m., the library door creaked open. A woman stepped out. She wasn't the monster my parents described. She wasn't unstable or wild-looking. She wasn't threatening. She looked fragile. Her hair was streaked with gray, tied back loosely. Her hands shook as she clutched her purse. But her eyes were the same shape and color as mine. Hi, she whispered. My breath caught in my throat. You! I couldn't finish the sentence. She nodded, tears already forming. You look just like you did the day they took you. My legs felt weak. I gestured toward the bench, and she sat beside me careful, like she expected me to run. I don't know where to start, she said softly. Start with the truth, I said. Please. She took a shaky breath. Your parents were supposed to adopt you, yes, but only under one condition, that I agreed willingly, and I didn't. My eyes widened. I never signed the papers, she continued. I changed my mind, but by then you were gone. My stomach twisted. Gone, what does that mean? She wiped her cheeks. They disappeared. They left the state, changed addresses, changed numbers. I tried everything, police, lawyers, private investigators, but all of them told me the same thing. Without proof of abduction, they couldn't help. They said you were unstable, I whispered. She froze. Her expression shifted, not angry, but deeply hurt. Of course they did. It's easy to paint a grieving mother as unstable when you're trying to justify a crime. A crime. The word hung between us like ice. "Why didn't you try to find me again?" I asked. She let out a fragile laugh. "I never stopped. Every year I posted online. I went to old addresses, I talked to neighbors, but they stayed hidden. And one day I realized something." Her voice wavered. "You wouldn't even know I existed." Silence fell over us. I wanted to argue, to defend my parents, to say they couldn't do such a thing, but I couldn't. Not after everything I'd seen, not after how they reacted last night. "Why did you send the letter now?" I asked. She hesitated. "Because I learned something recently, something urgent." A cold shiver crawled down my spine. "What?" She swallowed, wringing her hands. Your adoptive father, has been under investigation." My heart lurched. "Investigation for what?" She looked around nervously, lowering her voice. "For falsifying legal documents, including adoption papers." The world stopped moving. "That can't be true," I whispered, even as fear crawled up my throat. "I have proof," she said, reaching into her bag. "Original hospital records, birth files, everything." She handed me a stack of documents. The first page alone made my vision swim. My name, my birth date, her signature. A section marked "Mother retains full rights, no adoption approved." My fingers trembled. "I wanted to wait to tell you in person," she said gently. "But the truth is the authorities may come after him soon, and when they do, they will come after your mother too." I felt sick, actually sick. "You're saying my parents kidnapped me," I choked out. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down. "I'm saying they took you without my consent. And they have been hiding it for decades." My heart was beating so fast it hurt. Every denial I could have made died in my throat. Everything was pointing in the same direction. "And why contact me now?" I whispered. She wiped her cheeks. "Because before the truth gets dragged into court, I wanted you to hear it from me." I stared at the documents again, my world cracking apart piece by piece. "I'm not asking you to pick sides," she whispered. "I'm only asking you to let me be a part of your life. Even if it's just a small part." I couldn't speak. Every emotion, anger, grief, betrayal, confusion, raged inside me. Then suddenly my phone buzzed, a text from my dad. "Dad, if you meet her, you'll regret it. Come home now." My blood turned cold. Before I could react, another message appeared. "Dad, you don't understand what she's capable of." I looked at the woman beside me, her tear-streaked face, her shaking hands, her quiet sadness. She didn't look capable of hurting anyone. But someone was lying, and I was stuck in the middle of a 30-year war. "I need time," I whispered. She nodded. "Take all the time you need, I'll be here." As I walked away from the library, her voice followed me. "Be careful, they won't let you leave so easily now that you know." A chill ran down my spine, because she was right. When I reached home, my dad was standing at the door waiting for me, his expression dark. "Get inside," he said coldly. "We need to talk." For the first time in my life. I was afraid of him. What would you do if both sides had proof? Which one would you trust? My dad's voice held a sharpness I'd never heard before, controlled, low, and dangerous. He wasn't shouting, but that made it even worse. The quietness felt like a storm waiting to explode. "Get inside," he repeated. I hesitated on the doorstep. Every instinct in my body screamed that stepping inside was a mistake. But if I didn't go in, what would he do? What would he assume? I forced myself to walk in. My heart hammered against my ribs like it wanted to escape. The door slammed shut behind me. My mom stood near the kitchen, pale and shaking. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. Her eyes met mine, filled with fear, desperation, and something else. Guilt. My dad walked past me and locked the door, locked it. That sound, the sharp, final click, made my stomach drop. "Sit," he ordered. I sat on the couch, keeping my distance, gripping the documents from my biological mother inside my jacket pocket. He sat across from me, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. For a moment, he didn't speak. He just stared at me like he was trying to see what I knew, what I believed, what information I had. Finally, he exhaled. "So," he said quietly, "you met her." I swallowed hard. "Yes. What did she tell you?" His tone wasn't curious. It was accusatory, almost threatening. "I want you to tell me your side first," I said. "I want to hear the truth from you." Something flickered in his eyes, resentment maybe, fear, I couldn't tell. "She lied," he said. "Everything she told you was a lie." My mom flinched. My dad didn't notice or pretended not to. "Why would she lie?" I asked. "Why would she spend 30 years searching for me if she didn't care?" My dad scoffed. "To punish us, to destroy our lives, she's obsessed." "Show me proof," I said firmly. "Real proof." "Documents, legal papers, anything." He froze, just like earlier that day. "I don't need papers," he snapped. "I was there, I lived through it, I know what happened." "Then tell me," I whispered. "Please tell me the truth." He rubbed the back of his neck, pacing. His jaw clenched so tight that a vein pulsed near his temple. "Your biological mother was unstable," he said. "She changed her mind constantly. One minute she wanted you, the next she didn't. She disappeared for days at a time. She left you alone, and that's not what the hospital records say," I interrupted quietly. The room went silent. He slowly turned to look at me. "What records?" I pulled the papers out of my jacket, his face drained of color. "You went through her things," he said through clenched teeth. "I needed answers," I said. My mom covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh God, these are forged," my dad insisted, pointing at the papers as if touching them would contaminate him. "She made these up. She's crazy." They're from the hospital," I said. "They have stamps, dates, signatures, original ink markings." He grabbed the papers. I stood up immediately. "Don't tear them." For the first time, my dad looked uncertain, not angry, not authoritative, just afraid. "You have no idea what you're getting into," he said quietly. "No idea what she's capable of. And you have no idea how it feels to have your entire life questioned," I said, voice shaking. "To wake up and not even know who your real parents are." Mom stepped forward, tears streaming. "We are your real parents," she cried. "You grew up with us, we fed you, raised you, loved you, and lied to me," I said. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. My dad slammed his fist on the table. "Enough, I won't let her take you away again." "Again, that word again. What do you mean again?" I whispered. He stiffened. "Nothing," he muttered. "It's nothing." "No," I said firmly. "You said again." "What happened? What aren't you telling me?" My dad stared at me for a long moment, then exhaled heavily. "She tried to take you when you were 3, he said slowly. My heart lurched. "What?" I breathed. "She found us," he nodded. "She showed up at one of your daycare centers, said she was your mother, caused a scene, the police had to remove her." The room spun. "And why wasn't I ever told this?" I said. "Because you were a baby," he said. "You wouldn't understand." "Then why not when I was older? Why hide it for 30 years? He didn't answer, because there was no answer, because everything was unraveling too fast. My phone buzzed again, this time a message from my biological mother. "Unknown, are you safe? He might be angry, please don't let him corner you." My blood turned to ice. I quickly slid my phone into my pocket, but my dad saw the motion. "Who was that?" he demanded. I backed away. "None of your business." He took a step toward me. "You're not leaving this house again today," he said coldly. That's when I realized he wasn't afraid of losing me emotionally. He was afraid of losing me legally. I grabbed my bag and bolted toward the door. He lunged, but my mom grabbed his arm. "Stop," she cried. "You're scaring her." He froze, just long enough for me to unlock the door and slip out. I heard him shouting behind me as I ran, but I didn't stop. Not until I reached the street, panting, shaking, terrified. I texted my biological mother. Can we meet again tonight? I need the full truth. 3 dots. Then, unknown, yes, I'll tell you everything, but you won't be safe there anymore." My whole body went numb. Was she exaggerating? Or was my father truly hiding something far darker? As the sky darkened, I realized one terrifying thing. I wasn't just choosing between 2 sides anymore. I was choosing between 2 versions of my entire existence. And whichever choice I made, someone would lose me forever. I didn't go back home. I couldn't, not after what happened. Every shadow on the street made me jump. Every passing car made me look over my shoulder. I felt hunted, not physically maybe, but emotionally and mentally. My father's last words echoed aggressively in my mind. "You're not leaving this house again today." There was something different in his voice. Not just fear, control. A need to keep me contained, like I was evidence that could expose him. I walked toward the old Maplewood Bridge, a quiet place I used to go when I needed to think. I sat on the concrete ledge, legs pulled close to my chest, trying not to cry. For the first time in 30 years, I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. Not with the parents who raised me, not yet with the woman who claimed me. I was in limbo, between 2 lives, between 2 truths. My phone buzzed again. "Unknown, where are you? Are you safe?" I sent my location. She responded almost immediately. "Unknown, stay there, I'm coming." A part of me was scared, inviting a stranger to find me, but another part of me was desperate. I needed someone who wasn't yelling, manipulating, or hiding things. After 15 minutes, her silver car pulled up. She stepped out with a cautious expression, scanning the area like she was expecting someone to be watching. "You shouldn't be alone right now," she said gently. I hugged myself. I don't know what to do. Everything is falling apart. She sat beside me, her movements slow, gentle. "I know," she whispered. "I lived in that pain for 30 years. I looked at her. "Why didn't you fight harder?" I said before I could stop myself. Her face broke like I had stabbed her with the question. "I did," she whispered. Every day, but without proof of kidnapping, they always treated me like a bitter ex, like I just regretted giving you up. But you never gave me up. She shook her head. Not for a second. Something in my chest cracked open. For the first time I felt seen. I hesitated, then asked the question that had haunted me since yesterday. Did you really show up at my daycare when I was 3? She froze. I did, she said, but I didn't cause a scene. I brought paperwork. I brought my ID. I begged them to let me see you. The daycare called your father, and when he arrived, he told them I was dangerous. I swallowed hard. Dangerous how? He said I tried to kidnap other people's children, that I was mentally unstable. He made up lies so fast, so convincingly, I didn't even recognize the man I once trusted. The world tilted again. So he lied to them, I whispered. He lied to everyone, she said. But why would he do that? I asked. Why take me? Her expression darkened. I don't know what story he told you, but the truth is your adoptive parents were losing their last chance to adopt. They were denied multiple times. I think when they met you, they got desperate. Desperate, like people who take things that don't belong to them. My heart twisted painfully. And Mom, I asked softly. Was she involved? She sighed. I don't know, sometimes I think she didn't know the full truth either. That thought hit me like a punch. Had my mother spent her whole life believing a lie too, a victim of his manipulation, or a willing participant? I didn't know what hurt more. I wiped my eyes. I don't know who to believe anymore. She gently touched my shoulder. You don't have to decide today, but you do need to protect yourself. From what? I whispered, terrified. She hesitated, then reached into her bag. I didn't show you this earlier, she said. She handed me a thin folder. What's this? Police reports, she said quietly. From when I went missing with you, from when they moved states, from when the investigators tried to track them down. I opened the first page. A picture of my adoptive father, younger but undeniably him, and beside it a notation, person of interest suspected in unlawful custody case. My blood ran cold. I want you to understand something, she said. I'm not trying to destroy your life, I'm trying to return what was stolen from mine. Tears streamed down my face. What do you want from me? I whispered. She looked broken as she said, I want a chance to be your mother too, even if it's small, even if it's late. I swallowed the lump in my throat, but before I could respond, headlights flashed across the bridge. A black SUV slowed down near us. My heart dropped into my stomach. My mother's voice echoed in my mind. They won't let you go now that you know. My biological mother grabbed my hand. That's his car, she whispered. We need to go now. The SUV door opened. A familiar silhouette stepped out, my adoptive father, his expression dark, determined, dangerous. Get away from her, he growled. She's coming home with me. And in that moment, I realized he wasn't the man I thought he was. He never had been. Question mark, if you were in her place, would you run or confront your father? The moment my father stepped out of the SUV, everything inside me froze. The man I grew up calling Dad was suddenly a stranger, someone I barely recognized. Not because his face had changed, but because now I could finally see him, the sharpness in his eyes. The way his jaw was clenched like he was ready for a fight, the controlled rage simmering beneath his calm exterior. I stepped back instinctively. My biological mother squeezed my hand. Stay behind me, she whispered. My father took one long step toward us. Get away from her, he repeated through his teeth. She's confused, you're manipulating her again. Again, I shouted. Stop saying again like I remember some traumatic event. He ignored me completely. Get in the car, he ordered, pointing at the SUV. Right now. No, I whispered, my voice trembling. He blinked once slowly, like he didn't expect the word no to ever apply to him. Honey, he said, softening his voice in that fake, dangerous way. Let's go home, let's talk about this calmly. She's twisting everything. My biological mother stepped forward. She has a right to know the truth. Dad's eyes darkened further. You don't get to talk. You don't get to influence her life after what you did. What I did, she whispered, shaking. I never abandoned her, you took her. He snapped. You were unfit, he roared, taking a step toward her. I stepped between them. Stop! He froze again, less because he respected my boundaries, more because he realized he couldn't physically push me without looking guilty. Honey, he repeated, she is lying to you. She lied then, she's lying now. Then prove it, I cried. Show me any paperwork. Any legal adoption file, anything. His lips pressed into a thin line. You know I can't do that, he said. Yes, I said quietly, because it doesn't exist. His silence said more than any argument he could have made. I took a shaky breath. Did you ever legally adopt me? I asked. He didn't answer. Dad, I whispered, please just tell me. His eyes darted away for a moment, and that moment told me everything. You don't understand how complicated. Yes or no? I said, my voice breaking, his jaw clenched. No, he finally said, and it doesn't matter. It felt like the ground opened beneath me. It does matter, I screamed. You lied to me my entire life. My biological mother gently touched my shoulder, but my dad's eyes flicked to her hand like it was a threat. You're coming home, he said. We need to get ahead of this before she drags us all into another disaster. She's not dangerous, I said. Stop calling her that. You have no idea what she's capable of, he snapped. And I have no idea what you're capable of, I shouted back, his face twisted. He reached for my arm. Instinctively, I stepped back, but his hand closed around my wrist, hard, too hard. Let go, I whispered, panicked. He didn't. My biological mother grabbed his wrist. She said let go. He shoved her with his free hand, just a quick, sharp push, but she stumbled back, almost falling. That was it. Something inside me snapped. I yanked my arm away with all the strength I had. Don't touch her, and don't ever touch me like that again. Dad's face went red, then white, then something in between, a storm of disbelief and fury. You're making a huge mistake, he hissed. No, I said, trembling violently. The mistake was trusting you. He pointed at my biological mother. She will ruin your life. She's giving me back my life. A beat of silence. His breathing was heavy, ragged. His eyes wild. And then he said it, the sentence that destroyed the last piece of the father I once believed in. She was never supposed to find you. My breath caught in my chest. Not supposed to find me. Like I was hidden, protected, or concealed. My biological mother sucked in a sharp breath. Dad realized what he revealed and immediately straightened, trying to recover. You don't understand what you're doing, he said quickly. Let's all go home and pretend none of this happened. Pretend. I whispered. I found out I'm not your child. I found out you never adopted me. I found out you lied for 30 years. He looked cornered. The truth would have destroyed you. The truth is the only thing that can save me now. My biological mother stepped beside me. She's coming with me. Dad's expression turned lethal. You're not taking her anywhere. Yes, I am, my biological mother said. Whether you accept it or not. He glared at her. If you try to take her, I swear. Before he could finish his threat, I stepped forward. Dad, I said softly, I don't trust you anymore. He froze like the words physically struck him. You're making a terrible decision, he whispered. No, I said. I'm finally making my own decision. I turned and walked towards my biological mother's car. Every step felt like peeling myself out of the past I grew up in. Behind me, I heard my father shout, If you walk away, don't come back. I stopped. A part of me wanted to cry. Another part wanted to scream. The biggest part felt free. I didn't turn around. I guess that's goodbye then, I said quietly. And then I got into the car with the woman who had been searching for me for 30 years. As we drove away, I looked back once. My father was still standing there, small, angry, defeated. My whole childhood stood next to him, shrinking in the rearview mirror. We drove in silence for almost 20 minutes. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the hum of the engine. My biological mother kept glancing at me, worried, protective, and strangely familiar. She finally broke the silence. Are you hurt? She asked softly. I looked down at my wrist, already red from my father's grip. I'm fine, I lied. She frowned but didn't push. Instead, she kept driving until we reached a quiet residential street. Her house was small, older, but warm-looking, nothing like the life I grew up in. We got inside, and she immediately locked the door, not out of fear of me, but fear for me. Sit, she said gently. I'll get you water. Her voice, it felt like home in a strange way, like a melody I'd forgotten I knew. I sat on her couch. She brought me water and then hesitated. Can I hold your hand? I nodded instinctively. She placed her hand on mine, and for a moment I didn't feel broken, just found. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry for everything. You don't have to be sorry, I said. You didn't do anything wrong. She looked down. I did one thing wrong. I trusted the wrong man. I swallowed hard. You mean my father? Her eyes filled with pain. He wasn't always like this, she whispered. He was charming, kind, helpful until you were born, then something changed. He became possessive, controlling, and when he realized I wanted to raise you alone, he panicked. Panicked how? I asked. She took a deep breath. He convinced your mother, his wife, to help him save you. They convinced themselves you'd be better off with them. They created a narrative where I was unstable. My hands trembled. So they just took me. Yes, tears filled her eyes, one night without warning. I felt something break inside me, not sadness, not anger, something deeper, a fracture that would never fully heal. And she went along with it, I whispered. My mother, she hesitated. I don't think she knew how far he would go. But at some point, she stopped questioning him. Maybe she was afraid too. I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. Why didn't they ever tell me the truth? I cried. Because if they did, she said softly, they knew you'd find your way back to me. Silence filled the room. For a moment, I allowed myself to imagine what my life could have been: birthdays with the woman sitting beside me, childhood photos that matched reality, truth instead of decades of lies. I want to know everything, I said. Every detail. She nodded slowly. You deserve that. Before she could continue, my phone vibrated violently in my bag 5, 6 times in a row. I pulled it out. My father, dozens of missed calls. Then a message: Dad, you ruined everything. Come home right now. Another message: Dad, I'm not done talking to you. My hands shook. Then another message popped up, this one from an unknown number. Unknown, this is Officer Ramirez. We need to speak to you urgently regarding a report filed tonight. My heart dropped. What report? I whispered. My biological mother froze. Let me see. I handed her the phone. She read the message and her face blanched. What? I asked, terrified. She swallowed hard. He reported you missing, she whispered. And he listed me as the suspect. My breath caught. What? She looked at me with wide, terrified eyes. He's accusing me of abducting you. It felt like the world cracked open beneath my feet. He's trying to take you back, she whispered. By force. I stood up, shaking violently. And then I said the words neither of us wanted to admit. He won't stop, will he? My biological mother's voice trembled. No, he won't. Question mark. If someone filed a false missing person report about you, who would you trust? For a moment, neither of us spoke. The words "he reported you missing" sat in the air like poison, spreading panic through my veins. I wasn't missing. I wasn't kidnapped. I wasn't in danger. But my father made it look like I was. My biological mother paced the living room, hands shaking so violently she kept dropping her phone. He planned this, she whispered. He waited for you to confront him, and now that you know the truth, he's trying to take control before you slip away. But why? I cried. Why go this far? Why involve the police? She stopped pacing. Her shoulders slumped and her voice cracked. Because he always believed you belonged to him. Not loved, not protected, belonged. A cold chill crept down my spine. My phone buzzed again. Officer Ramirez, we need to confirm your safety. Please respond. I didn't know what to say. If I told them I was safe, would they believe me? Or would they assume the woman with me was manipulating me? My biological mother sat beside me. We need to go to the police first, before he twists the story so badly we can't fix it. I didn't move. What if they think you're dangerous? I whispered. Her eyes filled with pain. They've thought that for 30 years. I stopped caring about what strangers believe. I only care that you're safe. I swallowed hard. I was scared. Scared of police. Scared of my father. Scared of choosing sides. She gently touched my hand. I won't let anything happen to you, even if I have to face the same accusations all over again. Her voice cracked. And believe me, facing them once nearly broke me. I hesitated, then nodded. Okay, we'll go together. She grabbed her coat. But before we reached the door, a loud bang 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 shook the house. Someone was outside. Pounding, we froze. Police, a deep voice called. My heart dropped. Already, my biological mother's breathing turned shallow. They came to check the report. Stay behind me, I whispered. I don't know why I said it. I think some instinct inside me, the part that still felt like her daughter, wanted to shield her for once. We opened the door slowly. 2 officers stood in the cold night air. One held a flashlight. The other held a clipboard. Are you? The clipboard officer checked his notes. Emily Carter. My biological mother nodded nervously. Yes, officer, I can explain, but the officer raised a hand. Let's verify her safety first. His flashlight turned to me. I stepped forward. I'm fine. I'm not missing. I'm not kidnapped. The flashlight lowered a little. And you are? He asked. My name is... I gave my full name, my DOB, and address. The officers exchanged a look. Clipboard officer spoke again. Your father reported you missing. He said you were taken against your will. I shook my head. That's not true. I left home after a disagreement. I'm an adult. I came here on my own. And you're here willingly? He asked. Yes. He turned to Emily. Ma'am, could you step outside for a moment? She stepped onto the porch. The flashlight hit her face. Her eyes were red, her hands trembling. The officers asked her routine questions, her name, her relationship to me, why I was here. She answered everyone honestly. But then the taller officer asked the question that made everything spike. Have you had prior contact with the authorities regarding custody disputes? Her eyes widened. Tears formed. She nodded. Explain, he said. Her voice broke. 30 years ago, when my daughter was taken. Clipboard officer cut her off. Taken, you mean the father? She nodded. He wasn't, the officer stiffened. Ma'am, we're going to need you to come down to the station to make a statement. What? I cried. Why? She hasn't done anything wrong. It's just procedure, he said, but the tone in his voice made my stomach twist. They didn't trust her. They still believed she was the problem. My biological mother wiped tears with the back of her hand. It's okay. Let's go and tell the truth. She reached for her purse. And then I heard tires screech down the street. Another car pulled up, fast, too fast. My entire body tensed as the door slammed open. My father stepped out, his face twisted with fury. Get away from her, he screamed, sprinting toward us. The officers immediately held up their hands. Sir, stop, he shoved one of them aside. What did you tell her? He yelled at my biological mother. What lies did you feed her this time? Dad, stop, I cried. He didn't even hear me. He lunged for her wrist, but the officers grabbed him. Sir, step back now, he thrashed, pointing at her. She stole my daughter, he shouted. SHES a lunatic, SHES trying to poison her against US. Officer Ramirez stepped between them. SIR, listen carefully, she hasn't committed a crime tonight and your daughter is safe. She isn't safe, he roared. She's brainwashing her. My biological mother whispered, please don't do this. But he snarled, you ruined everything, everything. Before he could break free, Officer Ramirez pinned his arms behind him. Enough, Ramirez ordered. You need to calm down. I won't calm down until she's away from that woman. That woman, I said through tears, is my mother. He froze, everything stopped. Even the officers paused for half a breath. He turned his head slowly toward me. What did you say? His voice shattered. She's my mother, I repeated. The one you hid from me. For the first time, my father looked truly broken, not angry. Not controlling, broken. Sweetheart, he whispered. You're making a mistake. She doesn't deserve you. She doesn't. She deserves the truth, I said. And so do I, his expression twisted pain, rage, desperation all at once. You're not leaving us, he said quietly. I won't lose you, my voice cracked. You already did. The officers separated us. My father was taken aside, restrained but not arrested yet. My biological mother clung to my arm like she was afraid I'd vanish again, and I felt like a child ripped down the middle. Officer Ramirez walked over to me gently. Do you want to make a statement? My voice felt small. About what? About whether you left willingly and whether you feel threatened by anyone here. The words hit like a punch. Was I threatened? My eyes drifted to my father. He was pacing like a caged animal, jaw tight, eyes furious. He kept trying to yank his arm free from the officer holding him. Then I looked at my biological mother, standing small, frightened but steady. I took a long breath. I left home willingly, I said clearly. I'm not kidnapped, I'm not missing, and I'm not in danger from her. Ramirez nodded. And from him? I froze. My father was watching me, his eyes begging, pleading, desperate. But behind all that desperation, I saw something else. Control, possession, fear of losing power. Yes, I said softly. I feel threatened. The moment the words left my mouth, his face crumbled. Sweetheart, please don't do this. But the officers stepped between us. Sir, you need to leave tonight, Ramirez said firmly, or we will escalate this further. I'm her father, he shouted, voice cracking. No, I said quietly. You're the man who raised me, that's different. He froze. I forced myself to look at him. You gave me love, but you also gave me lies, I whispered. And I'm tired of choosing which version was real. He blinked rapidly, tears forming. I did it to protect you. No, I said. You did it to protect yourself. The officers began guiding him toward his car. Please, he begged. Don't go with her. You don't know her heart the way I do. I swallowed hard. I don't know yours either, I said. He closed his eyes like the words physically stabbed him. As the SUV drove away, his hand pressed against the window, reaching for me through the glass. I didn't reach back. The aftermath inside the house again, the silence hit hard. My biological mother sat next to me. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't want a night to be a war. It was always going to be, I said. For 30 minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she cleared her throat. There's one more thing you need to know, she whispered. The part I couldn't say earlier. My stomach flipped. What? She reached for a small box under her coffee table, dusty but carefully wrapped. You were born, she said softly. I wrote you letters every year for your first birthday, your second, all the way until your 18th. I stared at the box. Why? I whispered. Because I promised myself that if I ever found you, you'd know how much I loved you every single day. Tears blurred my eyes. She placed the box in my lap. You can open them when you're ready, she whispered. I kept them safe all these years, the only piece of you I had left. My breath broke completely. Why? I choked. Why didn't you give up? Why didn't you move on? She looked at me with the softest, saddest smile. Because a mother doesn't stop loving her child just because someone stole her. I covered my face and sobbed into her arms. For the first time in my life, I wasn't lost. I was found. The final closure weeks passed. Investigations opened. Lawyers called. Social workers contacted me. My father tried reaching out over and over, but I wasn't ready. Finally, one day, I wrote him a letter. Not forgiving, not hateful, just honest. He replied with a single sentence. I'm sorry for stealing your past. I hope one day you let me be part of your future. Maybe one day, but not now. My mother, my real mother, held my hand as we walked into the courthouse to finally tell the truth after 30 years. And for the first time, my life wasn't built on lies. It was built on choice, on truth, on healing, on reclaiming everything stolen from us. Question mark: if this happened to you, would you forgive your father, or would you cut him off forever?